Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, six-time world champ, two-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. As always, man, we're getting ready to roll. But today, man, we start out, first of all, with some sad news. And I got to pay homage, Bradley, before we even get started, to a great man, Pat Patterson. Passed away a couple of days ago. And I tell you, man, Pat meant a lot to the business. Pat meant so much to so many people. Pat Patterson, trailblazer, man. Talking about a guy that knew all about Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, Phantom of the Opera. I always say Pat Patterson was a guy that could have performed in any era. Literally, he could have. That's how fast his mind was, as far as detail, as far as the game really goes. I want to say thank you to Pat Patterson for what he did for me, bringing me into the WWE family. I remember Pat Patterson producing a lot of those matches with me and The Rock, and me and a lot of men Christian, no matter who it was. And I remember Pat Patterson always, saying, why are you so hard to work with? Because I would make it so easy for him, man. I would try my best to make it an easy night for Pat, man, and him in that Canadian accent, man. Why are you so hard to work with? I'll miss Pat Patterson. I love Pat Patterson. I'm not going to say I loved Pat Patterson. I love Pat Patterson. And he's definitely going to be missed. And brother, may you rest in peace.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, his credentials speak for himself. The first intercontinental champion ever, the man who invented the Royal Rumble, which his pitch was, what if you had a battle royal in reverse, right? I think that was a great idea that now is one of the biggest nights of the entire wrestling calendar is the Royal Rumble. We just had it in Houston, Texas this last year. Yeah. So a lot of cool things with that. I only got to meet Pat one time. And it was actually a memorable time for you as well, because that was when we were walking out of the Toyota Center one time, and I stopped and I wanted to introduce myself to Pat Patterson and I wanted to introduce myself to Chris Jericho, and I was talking to them for a second, and that's when the three of us got to witness your bump off the hoverboard.
I knew you was going to bring that up, man. I knew you was going to bring it up.
But that was what we got to witness, and that's my memory of Pat Patterson, is me, him, and Chris Jericho laughing after we made sure you were okay when you took your bump off the hoverboard in the Toyota Center.
Nah, man, he was a good dude, man. Pat Patterson, like I say, man, a trailblazer. He was a guy that had the respect of all the boys. He was the guy that you went to as a mentor and say, hey, Pat, what do you think about this? You know what I mean? And Pat would go, yeah, I like that. You know what I mean? Smoking that cigarette, it goes, but, what if you did it this way?
That seems to be the rap on him. Also, like, I always hear that he was one of the best finish guys in the history of the business. If you couldn't think of how you should finish the match, you go to Pat Patterson. He's got the best idea.
Yeah, seriously, man. He definitely, he was a guy that was, that guy in so many people's lives throughout the years. Pat Patterson, there again, he gave so much to the game in the ring, but I think he gave more outside of the ring than anything, man, because there's so many guys that's going to be telling these same stories that I'm telling right now about Pat. Telling, oh man, some of the jokes, man, Pat would tell, man. And, oh man, you laugh is like crazy, man. And one of my favorite, when is this nighttime? It's nighttime. It's nighttime radio. Well, one of my favorite jokes I remember hearing Pat tell was it was Charmel and I. And he got a joke for you. I got a joke for you. He goes, guy goes to the doctor to get his prostate checked. And, and it's his first time doing it. And he's relatively nervous about it. And the doc said, don't worry about it, I'll take care of you. And he takes him into the rooms, and then, he takes the glove, and he put the lube on. He tells the guy to bend over, and he checks him, and the guy goes, oh man, it really hurt, man. It really hurt, And, and next year, the guy had to come back again, and he had to check his prostate again. He goes, man, that really hurt, man. And, and trust me, I know what it's like to have to, go and have something like this. It's just totally intrusive. And he goes back to the third year, and he asks his wife, should he go back to the same doctor? But he goes, no, he's great. You should go back to him. He's been great for the last couple of years. And he goes back to him again. He checks him the third time, and he goes, doc, I mean, your ring is killing me. And the doc say, it's not my ring, it's my watch.
Was that the way that Pat would deliver it?
Yeah.
It's not my ring, it's my watch.
It's not my ring, it's my watch. And then he was done laughing so hard. Because, no, man, Pat was like the biggest jokester, man. We had so much fun, man, around Pat Patterson, man. I have nothing but the fondest and greatest of memories being around Pat Patterson, man, because he was just that guy who always was there to do one thing more than anything, and that was his job, man. That was to go out there and perform at the highest level when he did it, and then when he was passing on the knowledge to the young guys, he was passing it on. And for me, to be one of those guys on the road working 200 days, plus, close to 300 days a year, man, you got to have somebody out there making you laugh and everything, level, because it could get really rough. And I don't remember as many years as I knew Pat Patterson. I never saw him in a mood where it wasn't positive or constructive and a smile on his face. I never saw him out of all these years. And I just think about that now, that he was always a guy that was just happy to still be a part of the game, man. Happy to still be able to, there again, pass the torch, to the next guys coming up. Awesome dude.
Yeah, bless him. Guys like that are few and far between in any industry, let alone the professional wrestling industry. And to think about all the years that he had seen, and this was funny, he and Gerald Briscoe, I think.
Mr. B, that's what I call him.
Mr. B.
Yeah.
Mr. B.
Yeah.
Him and Gerald Briscoe, when they were the Stooges for Vince, it was great. They were great on-screen characters. And I think that up until a few years ago, and I could have this wrong, but I remember reading that they had the highest rated segment of Monday Night Raw ever for several, almost decades. When they fought one another, I think they were dressed in drag or something like that, and they fought one another on Monday Night Raw in a hardcore match for the title. And that was the highest rated segment in Raw history for a really long time, which I'm sure was to the pleasure and dismay to them both, that them dressed in drag as old men was the thing that everybody wanted to see. But just another credit to Pat and his ability to give back to the industry forever. I mean, he was still around, relatively recently, right? Giving guys game, putting them on game. And, when you lose somebody like that, you lose an encyclopedia.
Yeah, man. There again, like I said, it's going to be a lot of guys, man, saying the same thing that we're saying right now. There again, God, and you just give him a safe landing, man, because he's all about bumping. He's all about bumping, man. So just give him a soft landing. And there again, we're going to miss Pat Patterson for many, many years. I mean, we got to pay some bills, man. We got something going down this weekend that I know everybody want to be a part of it. If they could be in the building, they would. But if they can't be in the building, they can watch it live going down this weekend. Undefeated Errol the Truth Spence Jr., guys, is going to be risking it all, putting his title on the line against Philly's own Danny the Swift Garcia. Guys, it's going down December 5th, live only on pay-per-view. Buy now, guys, on foxsports.com/PPV and watch it on any of your devices, guys, no matter what it's your iPad, no matter what's your iPhone, no matter what the television, man, just pop it up there, man. Check it out. It's going to be, in the words of Booker T, it's going to be good. And some people say it might even be perfect. What do you think, Bradley? What do you think?
Here's the thing. We were there at the Staples Center when Errol Spence Jr. was on top of the world, when he unified the welterweight championship of the world. I mean, maybe the most competitive division in boxing today is the welterweight division. Errol Spence made himself the man, right? The man to beat. We heard he was going to fight Danny Swift Garcia next. That was the plan. And then just, what was it, a week or 2 or 3 after that fight? I think it was really recently after the fight. That's when he had that horrific car accident where somehow, by the grace of God above, he survived. And but now he's having to come back He's having to come back into the squared circle for the first time since that. So that, to me, is the big story. Will Errol Spence Jr. still be the truth this Saturday night, December the 5th? Make sure you go to foxsports.com/pay-per-view on any screen you want. You can get it. Do it now because we would do it for you.
Hey, man, don't be stealing my line. Hey, man. No,
Isn't that this business book? We're supposed to steal the good stuff and reuse it.
It is, man. That's the question marks, guys. We got to talk about that. We'll be back. Stick around. More Hall of Fame back in a minute. Shoop! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. There again, man, talking about big fight that's going to be going down this Saturday night. Hey, man, right down the street, man, right down the street from the H. And it's going to be good, man. It's going to be good down there. Cowboy Stadium, man, everybody's going to be treated real good. And it's going to be a fight, perhaps, could be candidate for Fight of the Year if both of these guys go out there and do what I really think they can do. There again, Errol Spence, question mark, under his name right there, of course, or beside his name, however you want to look at it. As far as, do he still have that knockout power after the accident? Like I said, guys, I told you, I was riding with my sister, man, VW Bugs, boom, she ran into a parked car. And, I was never the same ever again. Even to this day, even though as good as I moved back in the day, I could have been better if it wasn't for that car accident. And I'm just playing. But on the real, after a horrific car accident like Errol Spence Jr. had, it's definitely the truth. God spared him.
Yeah.
To be able to walk away from something like that. After going back and look at it, I'm sure he knows that God was on his shoulder. And can a man fight back from something like that? I think so. I don't think you forget how to go out there and throw punches. I don't think you forget how to slip punches. That's especially when it's something that you've been doing, for a long time, since you was a little bitty boy. It's ingrained in you to be able to go out there and do it the same way. There again, that's the question.
That's gonna be the question. I remember Ric Flair telling a story one time where after he got into that plane accident that he got into, him and Tim Woods and a couple other guys, that and he hurt his back. He broke all those vertebrae in his back. He said, for the rest of my wrestling career, I never took a back bump the same way I did before. Right? I was always a little trepidatious when I was going over and having to land on the back. I was always a little not a back bump, a back drop. He said he never took it the exact same way. Right? And I just wonder if you apply that same logic to somebody like Errol Spence, another vehicular crash, will he just move the same way? Is there an injury that's still been nagging at him all these months later that he's going to favor a little bit? Is his timing going to be off at all? I don't know. That's why I think there's such a compelling story for this fight. I want him to be the same truth. And if he is the same truth, he's going to get Danny Garcia out of here. He's going to get Danny Garcia out of here. That's just how I see it. But if he's not the same, this is Danny's window to reclaim that glory that he once had and be back on top of the welterweight division.
I ain't going to sit here and say it's going to be easy pickings or anything like that. It's a window. It's definitely a window there for Danny Garcia. This is his chance, man. This is his moment. Right. And I always talk about a moment, guys. When you get a moment, it may be that one time, man, and you may never, ever get it back ever again. Danny Garcia is he's a primetime player. He's a guy that's fought at the next level, at the highest level as far as boxing go. And And now he has a chance to go back and reclaim all of that in one fight. People can say whatever they want to say, and they can look at it however they want to look at it. As far as Errol Spence, going through what he did, Errol Spence coming into this fight, being in the shape that he possibly could be because of something like that. That's here nor there in a fight like this. This is a chance for Danny Garcia, like I say, to put himself right back in prime. I'm talking about champagne wishes. You know what I mean? I'm talking about caviar dreams. I made some, to get on another subject for a second, and we'll get right back to it. But yesterday, I made some of the best tempura shrimp you ever had in your life.
Really?
And I'm telling you, you put it in your mouth and you go, my God. And that's what Danny Garcia is looking at right now. He's looking at one of those tempura shrimp. Perfectly cooked, perfectly browned, and and all he has to do, man, is dip it into some of that nice soy sauce and go to work. Is that gonna happen? Is that gonna happen? I don't know. If I'm betting, if I was a betting man, I'm gonna go with Errol Spence, just because of what Danny Garcia has said in the past, and that is how in the fights that he lost, it wasn't because he wasn't the better fighter. It was because he maybe just didn't put enough output out. Maybe he didn't convince the judges, decisively enough, and in this fight, he said that's something that definitely he cannot leave on the table as far as going out there like, a fight with a Sean Porter, and get out punched, get out worked. In this fight right here, Swift Garcia, man, he's got such a beautiful left hook. He's got a beautiful right hand. He's got even an overhand right. He could do it all. But Danny Garcia is going to have to show up in this fight, because there again, we don't know exactly what Errol has, coming into this fight. But if I was a betting man, I would say Errol Spence is going to come to look no different than he looked before. And if he could do that, we may have another miracle man.
Yeah, and I want Errol Spence to be the same guy. I want him to be the same fighter. I want him to be able to do everything that he did before. I hope Danny Garcia goes out there and gives him a great fight. But after the fight's over, Danny should go back to his locker room, put on his turtleneck, and go to the press conference and say why he lost, right? But that's in a perfect world. And I'm not rooting against him, but I'm not rooting for him. I like Errol Spence. I really feel like he is the truth. He puts that left hand on you, you're going to leave looking differently than when you arrived. But my thing is, I just can't. You say if you're a betting man, you'd bet that he'd be the same. It's just hard for me to do that. Book, you've talked about it, and you weren't in a accident like that when you hurt your knee back in WCW, right? But you hurt your knee, you had to get it scoped, and you said you didn't do the same maneuvers the same way that you did before. And I just can't help but think this is going to have an impact. And if it doesn't have a physical one on him, it might have a mental one, with everybody saying, oh, is he going to be the same? Is he going to be the same? Is he going to be the same? Maybe that's going to make him question himself and say, am I the same? Am I going to be all right? Everyone seems to think that I won't be. Could this have an effect on him too? I think these are all valid questions.
No, they are. They really are. But that's not what I'm saying. If Errol Spence would have went out there and really did something to the point to where he couldn't do this anymore, he wouldn't be back this quick. Okay, I look at air disasters and stuff like that, and you just say, for instance, it's a plane crash, boom, and 50 people die, but the 8-year-old girl, she lives, just because it wasn't meant for her not to, be there. It wasn't her time yet, and those stories always, make me think and know, man, that it's got to be a God.
Right.
To see that car flip the way it did, we have to believe in a higher power if you walk away from something like that. I don't know, man. And that's just me being, a believer, me being a guy who believes in a higher power. But I just believe Errol Spence, He got his teeth knocked. He got his teeth knocked out. I don't know. I know his two front teeth got knocked out. They say he had no broken bones from that. I don't know if he did or not, but if he had, just say for instance, a torn ACL, he wouldn't be back this quick. If he had a Achilles injury, he wouldn't be back this fast.
True.
And so I'm looking at it from so many different perspectives, opposed to just what he went through. Like I say, sometimes some people are just meant to, just like Ric Flair being in a plane crash and walking away from it, even though he got a broken back, he still walked away from it. I mean, what's actually the chances of that actually happening?
Slim to none.
Exactly. So that's why I'm looking at it. That you know what, you being Caucasian, you hope for a lot of things. But I'm wishing.
I like how you said Caucasian. You really want to class it up, right? You want to make sure that the PC police weren't going to come get you. For saying white folk.
Bro, I'm serious. These days, you got to be politically correct. No matter who you're talking to. Caucasian.
You know me for 8 years. You said probably worse things than that, but Caucasian. You just want to class it up a little bit.
That's the first time I said that too.
I think it's the first time I've ever heard you say that word in my life. But nevertheless, it's going down again for everybody who missed it. This Saturday night, you can see the undefeated Errol, the True Spence Jr., risking it all and putting his title on the line against Philly's own Danny Swift Garcia in the biggest fight of the year. It all goes down Saturday, December 5th, live on pay-per-view. You can buy it right now, foxsports.com/PPV, and watch it on any screen that you want. Book, I've been looking at this chat. We have to take a break here in a second, but I've been looking at the chat. There's a lot of things that people want to say. They want to know about Tyson. They want to know about Holyfield. They want to know about Sting. They want to know about Kenny Omega. They want to know about Bad Bunny. They want to know about it all. And we're going to give it to them. Y'all just got to be easy. We're going to get there.
Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer, and this is for all up-and-coming professional wrestlers, male and female. You want to know the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. You got a question, I got the answer. If you want to know how, join my masterclass. Go to realityofwrestling.com for all the information. Starting on Thursday and every Thursday after that, guys. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. And I know you can dig that.
The Academy.
Shoop! I got you, didn't it? Welcome back inside the hall, guys. We're talking about a little bit of everything, man. Like I said, everything's a buzz in the chat. As far as people wanting to talk about this, want to talk about that, definitely got to talk about the Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. fight that went down, as well as the Jake Paul, Nate Robinson. Oh man, what a weekend, man! What a weekend. And the thing is, man, I think more importantly, the fight went down. Roy Jones, Mike Tyson, and it wasn't the worst fight we ever seen in our lives or anything like that. But what has shocked the whole boxing world is it sold over 1 million buys.
It did. 1 million verified pay-per-view purchases.
Yes, it sold over 1 million buys, and they're talking about has this fight shaking up everything in the boxing world now, as far as the guys who are out there playing right now, the guys who are out there really fighting, the up and comers and whatnot, and I'm gonna tell those guys just like I tell the guys in the locker room, when The Rock come back, bro, when you start selling tickets like that, when you start selling pay-per-views like that, then you can start talking. Until then, you better hope you're on the undercard. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm serious. I'm dead serious as far as that goes because I told you. I don't know if you remember me saying it, but I said, man, this Mike Tyson, this Roy Jones Jr., people are going to pay to see it. I'm going to pay to see it. This is nostalgia. And we want to know if Mike Tyson still can go out there and do it. Right now, it's talk Mike Tyson can actually be in line to get a title shot with one of the heavyweights right now. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. And we look at the top heavyweights right now. We look at Wilder, Fury, Joshua, Holyfield. Which one do you think I'm gonna?
I like what you did there. Do you know what? Do you know what? Speaking, and I want to get to that, and I feel like we have to talk about this event in great detail. But Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield did 1.5 million buys, 1.5 million buys back in the day. This one is trending between 1 million and 1.2 million. Think about that. Think about just 300,000 difference in the first Holyfield fight with Tyson and then Tyson versus Roy Jones in 2020. That tells you that Mike Tyson is without a doubt still a draw. I think that Roy Jones Jr. may added a little bit to that, but the allure was Mike Tyson. They were showing Mike Tyson videos the entire night. They were showing his highlight packages. He was on the graphics behind the screen. Mario Lopez, who was there for some unknown reason. We needed AC Slater from Saved by the Bell to host the event. He kept talking about Mike. The event was about Mike, and Mike Tyson proved that he is still a mega draw when it comes to the sporting world.
Hey, man, I'm not going to sit here and dispute it.
Right.
I talk about it all the time, man. Mike Tyson was a star, man. He was a mega star. He was a rock star as far as the world goes, not just the boxing world. I'm talking about the world of sports. I'm talking about the world of entertainment.
Right.
Tyson was the best at both. Entertaining by knowing, you're going to see something spectacular. And then, from a sports figure perspective, you go, man, this guy's a hell of an athlete. There's nobody better. And then you come on. We've been to Vegas, and hung out with Mike and whatnot. And you see how big I am over Mike. Okay. Imagine those guys that Mike had to fight, like Frank Bruno, who's bigger than me. You know what I mean? And Mike went out there and humbled those guys, made them look like little boys in comparison. When Mike was at his best, there was nobody, no heavyweight in the world ever, including Muhammad Ali, more electrifying, let's say that, than Iron Mike Tyson, man. Because I tell you, man, I spent, I don't know, $700 for a pair of seats, $700 a piece before I could sit down and the fight was over. And I was mad as hell.
You're trying to get your shine on, right? And was this back in your in pre-Queen Charmel days, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is in the 90s. Yeah, this is like mid-90s.
I was
so the ladies you were looking for the ladies,
Splurging, man. I was splurging, man. I get there late, thinking I'm somebody, which I was nobody. From the broad perspective, I wasn't sitting front row or nothing like that. But I swear, man, before I could even sit down good, man, Mike Tyson, knocked this fool out, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so mad, man, I'm so mad. But nah, man, Mike Tyson definitely have proved, he's still more of a draw than any of the young fighters out there today, besides perhaps Floyd Mayweather at his peak, and that's just the truth. People need to recognize, understand that. And you remember what Mike Tyson said? Mike Tyson said, if Conor McGregor want to make some money, he got to come fight him. And which that's true. I mean, do you think that fight, Conor McGregor against Mike Tyson, will be bigger, than Roy Jones? I mean, the Floyd Mayweather. You think that would be bigger? Which one?
Oh man, that would be interesting because of the way.
I think the Mike Tyson Conor McGregor fight would be bigger just because old line versus young line. The nostalgia. It only can be a boxing match. Man, who do you think will win?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's crazy to think that way, but it's true. It really is.
Hey, in the Legends Only League, we could see it. We could see it happen. But let me ask you this: what did you think of the show overall? What did you think of the production? Did you like how they lit Staples Center up? Did you like the staging? Did you like the rap performances between it? Did you like the undercard? Tell me.
Snoop saved it, man. You know, I'm gonna just say that, man. I ain't gonna say them other guys wasn't good or anything, you know, but the guy that went before Snoop, all he was doing was running around the damn stage,
St. John, yeah,
shaking and whatnot. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with him? You know, but Snoop came out, man, and threw that old school flavor, you know, on the whole scene and made you, and then when he was on the commentary, of course he was acting crazy, but he made a real astute comparison. He said, man, you know, these guys, you know, they like me when I was in my heyday, you know, and then now, you know, when I, you know, come out, people still want to see me do that. They just stay cut from that same cloth, right. You know, guys like Roy Jones, guys like, you know, Mike Tyson, you know, even guys like Evander Holyfield. I'm gonna tell you right now, we got to talk about that. Evander Holyfield may be next in line. I'm gonna tell you right now, Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield would be literally over the top. A million buys. I'm gonna tell you, it would make that very, very easy. I really feel that way.
Yeah, more than that.
And I don't think it's a shame that these young guys, you know, have to look at that and say, man, you know, that should be us in that position. What I say to these young guys is, you better figure out how those guys got to that position, because you know, it is true. That's what you want to be, and no doubt, don't think Mike Tyson slipped on a banana peel and found himself in that position.
Right.
So work it out, man. Find your way to that position. It's possible. It's definitely possible.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the break, though, I feel like you have a different view of the fight than I had. I enjoyed the fight. It was unofficially scored a draw. How do you see? How did you score the fight?
You know, I really, you know, I enjoyed the fight. Let's just say that
I enjoyed it too.
But I thought from a pugilist perspective, you know, maybe the people in the chat can weigh in on this as well, because I could be wrong. I got to go back and look at it again. But when I was watching it live, I thought Roy Jones won the fight on points. You know, the thing is with boxing, it's not about, you know, how many punches you throw. It's more so, I think, from a judge's perspective, the more clear landed punches and the most effective landed punches. And from a viewing perspective, the guy that I got, you know, the guy that I saw get hit with the harder shots and the more cleaner shots, it was Mike. It wasn't, I didn't see Roy Jones really get hit one time.
Not in the face.
Well, okay. Tell me this here. Tell me this. Did Mike Tyson get hit in the face?
He got hit maybe one nice little escape.
Go back and look at it. He got hit in the face a few times. And so I don't think it was, Roy, you know, you can hit me in the face, but I won't hit you in the face. My thing is, I just feel like Roy Jones was the more elusive, you know.
All he did was clinch the whole time.
Well, he clinched when he was in close, and when he was out, you know, in distance, he moved and he threw his shots, and he evaded. You know, he moved, he kept his feet moving and whatnot, which was the smart thing to do. What do you want the guy to do? Just go in there and go, okay, Mike, let's go toe to toe. I mean, that wouldn't have been smart for him.
No, his strategy was smart. I just don't think that it was a winning strategy.
I think it was a winning strategy when, you know, if you hit the guy more times than you get hit, I don't care if you're moving backwards on roller skates, you should win the fight. I'm serious, man. That's just the way I look at it. But Mike definitely looked opposing. He looked like he was, ready to, land that big shot. He looked like he was, trying to find the position to throw and land that big. But every time he threw it, Roy Jones was either gone or he held on, and he held on tight. And and the thing is, who won the dirty boxing? Who do you think won the dirty boxing? Roy Jones won the dirty boxing as well. Inside, holding, bang, 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 bang. All of that was, guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. And we got to start a poll right now. Who do you think did?
We're going to go vote on Booker T's Twitter.
Yeah, stick around. We'll be back in a minute. We back in the Hall of Fame. Hey, man, I see a lot of people in the chat saying, Tyson had more landed punches. Look at the CompuBox Booker. Okay, all right, I'll give you that. Rose, whatever. You know what I mean? Come on, guys. I mean, come on. Y'all gotta jump on board here. Jump on board. I know there's a lot of people out there that love Mike. There's a lot of people that want to see
everyone. Mike. We all love Mike.
I had Tyson winning by a lot, and the thing is, go back and watch it. All Jones do was us clinch. I mean, come on, guys. He did do a lot of clinching, but the thing is this: he did a lot of clinching.
He did.
Did the referee take away 1 point?
No. Exactly
my point. So who you going to blame for him clinching? I mean, he did what he's supposed to do in a fight. And a lot of these people, I understand. Like I said, I know you guys love Mike. I know you guys want to see Mike, go out there and knock Roy Jones Jr. out. And the thing is, guys, I wanted the same thing. What did I say, Brad?
Yeah, you thought he was going to knock him out within 4, right?
I said within 2.
Within 2.
I said within 2. I really think what's going to happen is Mike Tyson, he still can throw that left hook. It still look mean. It still look hard. And if Roy get caught with that one shot, it's going to be lights out. I mean, come on. We've seen Roy get touched on the chin a few times and go to sleep. I'm talking about KO. I'm talking about give him a pillow type. So that's what I felt. But
right,
it didn't happen that way. And a lot of people, guys, go back and watch the fight. Go back and, kind of like reanalyze it. Look at it from my perspective for 1 second, and then you're going to go, wow, Buck was right again,
Well, and there's a poll right now on Booker T's Twitter. If you want to go vote in it and see who you think won the fight, go to Booker T's Twitter. We'll have that poll up until the end of the evening, and we'll check in with it. Someone did make me laugh. Anthony Banks goes, Booker must have been off that yak. Tyson won the fight. Shup. So shout out to Anthony. Hey, real quick, last thing on this fight, the co-main event, Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson. Boy, does this show that not everybody is a boxer?
Yeah, man. Terrence Crawford, he said best, man. You don't play boxing,
right?
It's a lot of stuff you can go play, and you can pretty much find yourself having a good time. But boxing, it's the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, and it could be a hard, crushing defeat, as we saw. And I tell you, man, for literally about 20 seconds, Nate looked like he could do something for about 20 seconds, because he was His feet was fast.
He was aggressive.
He was moving in, and then after about 20 seconds, Jake was figuring that out. He was like, okay, this guy just running in on me, so just let me move a little bit, whatnot. Just let me keep my feet moving. If you know that Jake wasn't really rushing in to hit him. And it was inevitable for Nate to just knock himself out. You know what I mean? Yeah, he was going to run into something sooner or later.
Yeah, running directly at your opponent with your hands down and your chin up isn't the best strategy.
That's a recipe for disaster, and that's exactly what happened with that guy, man. And I was like, man, I didn't think it was going to end like that. But give props what props are due, man. Jake Paul is a better fighter than you one may give him credit for.
True. He looked like he had actual skill.
Well, you could tell this guy been in the gym training with somebody. Yeah. And the thing is, you could tell he didn't just start yesterday. And there again, the one thing about the fight game, you got to be dedicated. I mean, you got to be willing to go out there and fall on your sword. I give Nate a lot of credit for doing that, man. But to do it in front of the world in that fashion, that's a scar that will never, ever go away, as well as a scar that will never heal, because he's never going to be able to put anything on it to make it heal. It's something that he's just going to have to, live with, thinking that he can go out there and fight somebody. Just because the guy is a YouTuber, you think he can whoop his ass. And that's my thing. I've always said, man, me being 258 pounds of romping, stomping, grave digging destruction, Jack. I've always said, man, don't go picking a fight with nobody, no matter how big, especially no matter how small the person is. Do not do it. You putting yourself in a bad position doing something like that. And I'm giving you some worldly street advice right here, man. I'm serious, because when you call somebody out to a fight, you really don't know what they're thinking. Right. When they accept that fight, when they accept that challenge. The way you look at a fight and the way someone else looks at a fight, it may be totally different. So guys, try your best not to find yourself in that situation. Now, if you got to defend yourself, me personally, I always been about defending myself. If I got hit, and then when I got to defend myself, I'm going to throw the first punch. You know what I mean? I'm going to pick up something first and hit you with it, just because I ain't finna, sit here and fight with you. It's the last thing I want to be doing. So guys, that's just my advice on that right there. Jake Paul went out there and whooped that boy's ass, and now he's calling out, some big time players, man.
Calling out Floyd. He's calling out Connor. He's calling out all kinds.
He called out Ryan Garcia.
He called out Ryan Garcia.
Yeah. So me personally, Jake Paul, Ryan Garcia, that's a fight to be had for me. I love to see that. And if I was Ryan Garcia, Ryan should say, man, let's find a contract right now, because this kid is drawing some money. And there again, if that's a fight that Jake Paul is looking to have, which I don't think he is, but it is a good call out, because Ryan Garcia is a handsome young man, a guy that's just on fire right now as well, and it would be a great fight for him to have. But I don't think he's ready for it. But that's definitely a great call out, because that fight right there, man, believe it or not, that's a draw. That's a lot of money to be made with those two guys.
Just to update everybody real quick on our poll over there on Booker's Twitter right now, it's 94% Tyson, 6% Roy Jones Jr. That could change by the end. Make sure you go get your vote in there.
Most of those guys, man, they're avid pugilists, watchers, man. They are the avid, thrill seeker, as far as just wanting to see somebody go out there and fight. That's what people want to see with Mike. You know what I mean? And trust me, hey, I understand. I get it. All right, I get it. But guys, go back and rewatch the fight. If you think that way tomorrow, I'll take your word for it. How about that?
All right, I want to get to a couple of these super chats, and I want to let Aaron and Wally Wall. We're gonna get to y'all's in the next segment, but right now, me only me with the $9.99 super chat says, "Hello Booker, I'm looking to train for the WWE, and I was wondering if you can train me. I want to train for your Reality of Wrestling promotion, but I don't live in Texas. Is there any way we can talk? I'm ready to train." Book, you actually might have a perfect solution for him going down in a little while this evening.
Hey, well, actually, every Thursday, just log in, man. Reality of Wrestling. I do a wrestling one-on-one class every Thursday night, and you too can be a part of it. You can definitely get the ins and out, do's and don'ts of what it's like to be a professional wrestler. We do a film study. Tonight's film study is going to be, myself and I think Rey Mysterio, and then myself and The Rock to show the difference between how when I first, came in and, I really wasn't that good as people, may have perceived me to be. And I especially wasn't that, as good as I thought I was and when I first came into WWE, and then later on in WWE, how much better I got. So definitely join online every Thursday night. I got some classes that's going to be going up as well, as far as, different courses, as far as, showmanship, chain wrestling, a little bit of everything. Just go to realityofwrestling.com and get your feel. If that doesn't work, man, as soon as the thing blow over, this pandemic thing, man, get to Texas, because Reality of Wrestling is, the one stop to get, pretty much all the on-the-job training as far as what you need to know when you get to that next level. I always talk to my students and say it's a test. It's always a test that you're trying to pass. And at Reality of Wrestling, we try to teach you exactly what it takes to pass that test. Like I said, if that doesn't work out, join me on Thursdays, each and every Thursday. Go to realityofwrestling.com, get the information. Booker T's Wrestling 101. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. It's one of those type of deals, man. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Me Only Me. Go check that out. And like you said, you're going to be teaching that class here this evening. You're going to be teaching your Wrestling 101. And it's here's the thing. If you want to learn from somebody who's actually done everything, take his class. He's done everything. Accomplished tag wrestler, 2-time Hall of Famer, world champion, main event of WrestleMania, everything. So if you want to learn from a guy like that,
They pass it on, man. That's what it's about. It's about passing the knowledge on. It's one of those things I tell people all the time. I could be somewhere else doing something in that time that I hang out with those guys on the Zoom class, but I get just as much out of it as those guys do. So guys, join me there again every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. Hey guys, stick around. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Man, as far as the Robinson thing, man, you think he'll be doing that ever again?
Hell no.
He was like, somebody give me a pillow.
He said, no. That is a no-go.
Somebody please give me a pillow, man. Just let me lay right here. You know what I mean? And that has to be that. It's like when excuse me. It's kind of like when George Foreman fought over in the Rumble in the Jungle with Muhammad Ali. It was such a great fight. It is something that I remember like vividly in my head. It sticks out. And, George came in with all the hype. And he had an entourage of people with him.
Yep.
And man, Muhammad Ali, he walked out with his entourage. Thought it was going to be a bad night, but Muhammad Ali had something else in his plans. He's like, man, I'm going to go out here and win this fight. And he won that fight. And at the end of it, if you ever go back and listen to it, guys, it's a quote that the commentator says after the fight is all over with. And George Foreman is a beaten man, and he's walking back to the dressing room, and he said, and the commentator goes, there goes George, a beaten man, with only a couple of people around him, nobody mobs a beaten champion.
That's some great stuff.
Oh man, that quote right there, man, it sticks out and it just resonates in my head, man. And he goes, look at him, a beaten man, walking with 2 or 3 people there. Nobody mobs a beaten champion. I go, I'm using that one day.
It's a great line.
It is.
It's a great line. Nobody mobs a beaten champion.
Nobody mobs a beaten champion. It had to be from England. And that's probably why I picked up the accent along the way. It's
from the Rumble in the Jungle is where we got King Booker.
I'm serious, man. And it just was it's beautiful, man. Beautiful. That's the way Nate was, man. Nobody mobs a beaten champion.
Nobody mobs a former.
Nobody wants to, follow him on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. And that's where the fight starts, with these guys these days is on Instagram and on Twitter, social media. And my thing is, man, I'm staying away from that stuff.
It's a good idea.
I've had so many people call me out on Twitter to a fight. I'm like, man, I'm not fighting anybody, But
if you were to, can I just make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I saw for some reason, somehow, this guy weaseled his way into the door. And for this Saturday, NXT TakeOver, War Games, on the pre-show, do you know who it's going to be?
Who's that?
Sam Roberts is hosting. We love Sam, right? Do you know who else is going to be on the panel?
No.
Well, Pat McAfee's now doing things inside the squared circle, so it's not going to be Pat McAfee.
No. Who's it going to be now?
A man that we both know, Ariel Helwani, is going to be on the kickoff show this Saturday for WWE's NXT TakeOver War Games. And, Ariel's been running his mouth a lot. A lot.
Hey, man. Just, I'm not going to even say it, man. I'm not going to even say it, man. You know what I mean? But bring a guy like that in, good God. I ain't gonna even say. I'm not gonna even say anymore, man. I'm not gonna even say anymore. I'm serious.
But if
I'm not gonna say anymore. I'm not gonna even talk about it, man, because that right there. If you think this guy's a crossover act, oh my God, wow, yeah, this is crazy. It's crazy, man.
But if say one time, say if you and Ariel happen to bump into each other,
we're not gonna bump into each other.
But just say you did.
I'd be whooping his ass. If I bump into him anywhere.
Okay.
But I don't. I'm done with it.
Okay, we'll move on.
No, we could ask the people in the chat, man. What do you guys think about Ariel Helwani? Most of them, you know what they're gonna say? Who the hell is Ariel Helwani? That's what they're gonna say. That's what most of them are going to say. You know what I mean? But that's another story, man. Let's move on. I'm not giving this guy any time on my show. Clarissa Shields, man. Clarissa Shields, female boxing sensation. She just signed a multi-year deal with PFL Pro Fight League. And the thing is, for me, is Clarissa Shields, she's been dabbling in if it's something that she's wanted to do for last couple of years, even to the point of calling Amanda Nunes out to a fight. And Amanda Nunes said, yeah, we'll fight in the octagon. I'll take you down a stretch and, break some bones, and so that pretty much got postponed to a later date.
I was about to say, show me the lie, and that's different because Amanda's a bad girl.
Yeah, Clarissa say, no, we ain't gonna go that route. But Clarissa say, okay, let me get in this and let me do it, the proper way. I'm not gonna, pull a CM Punk, and go straight to, the main league. I'm gonna go to PFL and see if I can learn this first. Is this a good move or not? That's the question for Clarissa, because I think, me personally, I think it's a good move, because I know if she go to PFL, first and foremost, as far as the women goes, she's going to be the biggest thing in PFL. Therefore, you can ask for a nice paycheck, especially if it's a multi-year deal. Boom, how much money is on the table? Okay, let's get this done. And then it could be one of those learning curves to where if it doesn't work out in PFL, if this MMA experience don't work out, man, I still got a great deal out of it. And it was boom, it was an awesome experience. But on the other hand, she could turn out to be a prodigy and boom, overnight become a sensation in the MMA world. What do you think about it?
I mean, I agree. I mean, there's tremendous upside there, right? And I think that when you're somebody like Clarissa Shields, and you've accomplished so much as, one of, if not the best female boxer in the world at this very juncture in time, you wonder what's the next challenge for you and where can you make the most money. As of recent years, crossover fights have been a really big appeal. We actually just saw a nostalgia fight be a big appeal. There might be big money in these types of fights, and I think for female athletes, they need to see what can draw, because for better or for worse, fair or unfair, female fighters in average, or female athletes in average, get paid less than male fighters. So I think that you need to find those opportunities and avenues to make as much money as humanly possible in your given field. I think from that aspect, it's a great idea for Clarissa Shields. I just don't know if there's been a boxer that's crossed over or a MMA fighter that's crossed over that's been successful. I don't care what division that they fight at, in what league do they fight at. It's a completely different sport. It is an apples and oranges thing. I was one of those naive people who, when Conor and Floyd were fighting, I'm like, well, hey, Conor is a great striker. Boxing is all about striking. He's going to have a great opportunity. I kind of bought into the hype of the ability there. Well, is Clarissa Shields buying too much into her own hype inside the squared circle to then go into an octagon and battle people who've trained at these specific skills for as long as she's trained at being a boxer? They have worked at this every single day. Clarissa Shields, this isn't something you can just pick up and go into a professional fight league and say, I'm going to be the biggest, baddest thing that they have, and I'm going to win all the championships. It's not going to be that easy. So I think it's a great idea for her. It's a great idea. I just don't know if it's going to work in practicality.
That's why I beg to differ. If this was the UFC, I could see that exact thing happening, where they bring her in and they throw her directly to the lines. Right. I said that the one guy in the UFC that they have worked properly to this point, that I've never seen them do with any other guy, it's Greg Hardy. Believe it or not,
they've done it phenomenally.
They've done a great job with Greg Hardy as far as giving Greg the right guys to actually be able to move up the ladder and whatnot. Now, like I say, I don't see that too often in the UFC. Now in PFL, some good fighters there too. I'm not throwing any of those fighters under the bus or anything like that, because I challenge anybody to go out, that hadn't been, a trained fighter, to go out there and think that they can whoop any fighter, man or woman. Right. I'm serious. One of my girlfriends choked me out one time while I went to sleep. You know what I mean? I'm talking about I was dead on arrival if she wouldn't have woke me up. No, I'm serious. But I think Clarissa Shields, being a great fighter, being a great athlete, man, she's very, very strong. If put in the right position, in the right, with the right people, right coaches, I think she can learn it. I don't think a lot of these girls, that's doing this are outside of the realm of, being as good as Clarissa Shields in any sport, because Clarissa Shields is an athlete. She can adapt in certain ways that a lot of people can't. I look at Israel Adesanya, being a kickboxer and coming into the UFC and being as great as he is. He didn't start in the UFC. He's a guy that adapted to, just being, and then, I look at guys like, St. Pierre, a guy who wasn't a wrestler, who could out wrestle all the wrestlers, so it's the fight game, like I say, is something totally different. And having that animal that inside of you, I mean, that beastie mentality, Clarissa Shields, man, she scares me sometimes, bro. I'm serious. I'm like, man, where is the nearest psych ward? You know what I'm saying? Because somebody need to have a key ready. You know what I mean? Where's the straight jacket? One of them type of deals, man. But stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Got a lot more for you. Shoop. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Hey, man, we still rolling. We still got a little bit more for you. Clarissa here and there. Like I said, I hope she work it out in that PFL thing. I hope it work out. I hope she actually find her way to the UFC, and because I really feel like there again, cross promotion from a perspective, fighter coming from another world, inside the square circle, actually the octagon with Amanda Nunes, because I think that would be the biggest fight in the history of UFC if they can make it happen. It really would be.
It would be a massive draw for sure.
From the female side, I really believe that. But let's move on, man. We got a whole lot of breaking news this week. Just went down last night, Wednesday night Dynamite. Sting made an appearance. We got a new AEW champion, Kenny Omega, beat John Moxley. Big Impact Wrestling implications as well. You know what this make man, it definitely make it feel like back in the day, WCW versus WWE, the wars, man. It make it feel like something really, really cool is about to happen here. From that side, and of course, that's like a shot, and then somebody got to respond. So I'm definitely knowing that, man, what the response is going to be, man. Am I going to be putting my boots back on again? Let's not make that happen. But man, it was definitely something to see, and I said it. We talked about this a few months back as far as Sting in AEW. What did I say? What did I say? If you remember.
Well, I don't know if I fully remember. Refresh my memory.
I remember saying, man, I could see Sting doing something with Darby Allin.
Right. Yeah, I do remember this.
I said I can see that. You remember I said, I'm sure Sting, probably want to wrestle again. I say
we talked about this 6 months ago, by the way. Yes.
Exactly. I say you remember that, mm-hmm. And I say, man, I know he's one of those guys that want to go out, on his own terms, just because, when I came into WWE, man, I had a long run. I had an extensive run. I had a whole nother career when I came into to WWE, and it was, man, it was a monster, man. It was a monster. Even to leave and come back again and still have another career, But when Steen came over, it was brief, man. That the match with Seth Rollins, boom, it was pretty much over with. It was over pretty much before it started, and I remember Sting said, man, the reason he didn't come to WWE because the way I started out, with The Rock, and then the angle with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then I did it just went on and on and on. 2-time Hall of Famer. That's another story. But he said he didn't come over because the way The Rock said, man, it doesn't matter what your name is, which was part of the angle, part of the gimmick. Everybody went through that.
I think he did it to everybody.
That's what was, and he missed a ton of a career. In the WWE, and then to finish it like that, I'm sure that's something that would have weighed on him forever, saying, man, that's not the way I wanted to go out. I really want to finish the thing. And now, of course, lo and behold, AEW comes along and, he has a chance to actually do that, with, perhaps a Cody Rhodes or, Darby Allin or something like that. The question is, Sting at what, 61?
Yeah.
That's a man. That ain't. It's a young. I'm not going to say anything about Sting or anything like that, but it's a young man's game. It really is, man. It's a young man's game, and that's one reason why I don't. People look at me and they go, "Dang, man, Book, you look like you're in the best shape of your life. You look jacked. And I go, man, I feel good. And I say the only reason I'm feeling like that is because I'm not in the ring. I'll be beat up, bruised, battered, and torn, if I was in the ring. And then even now, as good as I feel, as good as, one may think I look, man, it's no way I could go out there and do it the way Booker T did it. It's no way, that person, that was a different person, and I'm in pretty good shape. I did it a year ago. And you go back and watch that match, and you go back and watch an old Booker T match, and you go, man, Book looked like he lost a step there a little bit. It did again. I can hide it pretty good. I'm pretty good at smoke and mirrors. But let me tell you guys a little story about that match. I was working with one of my students, Rex Andrews, and man, we laid this match out, man. As far as what we wanted to go out there and do at certain points of the match. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling pretty good. I've been training for at least 3 months for this thing, been taking walks around the block, every day. You hear that, don't you? Walks. And I say, so man, a certain part, 3/4 away, they come back, whatnot, and bang, I'll, duck that spinner Rooney, and I'll hit you with that drop kick, chin side, right on the chin, and then bang, cover you and whatnot. And we got in the match, and we was about, 10 minutes in, and my legs was weary. And we finally got to that point in the match, maybe about 20 minutes in. And I was supposed to do that drop kick, and we were both laying on our back, and I whispered to him, throw that drop kick out. Because it would have been about knee to ankle high. I knew I couldn't do it. I knew if I tried to do a drop kick, something was going to pop. Okay?
Yes.
So I say, let's just throw that drop kick out right now. And that's what I say, guy like Steen coming back. I love seeing him come back. Hopefully it's just for nostalgia purposes. And they definitely can get something out of that.
Well, here's the thing. When I was watching the show last night, because they promoted this whole show, winter is coming, right? And I remember Tony Khan talking about the monumental changes that are about to happen and shift in the war. And I'm thinking, okay, they're going to do something on this show. And I figured it was going to take place in the main event, and we're going to get to that. Obviously, something big happened in the main event. But when the lights turned out during that match where Cody and Darby were in the ring and Taz and his folks were out there, the lights turned off. I didn't know what to expect. I saw the little promo package. It was cool. That little video package of the looked like winter was coming, and you saw all the landscape shots and the drone camera and this, that, and the other. I still didn't put it together that who it was going to be. And when the Titantron revealed Sting, I will say I got excited. I was like, "Oh my, Sting's in AEW! Oh wow!" And then he walks out, and he looks like Sting, right? He looks like Sting. And this new Sting AEW merch is awesome. Like everything looked. I just heard that he broke the record for 24-hour sales of a new T-shirt. So congratulations to him at 61, right? That's an awesome thing for him. But I was the nostalgia of it drove me nuts. And then I hear that he's signed full time, right? He's got a full time multi-year contract, and that's when I start thinking, okay, to do what, right? Because I want to see Sting on television.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to see Sting wrestle. And I hope I might lose some fans here, or I might get some negative comments. I have no interest in seeing a man who's 61 years of age step inside the squared circle. I have no interest, and I would have more interest in it if what happened in his last match didn't happen. I was there. I saw it. You were there too, Booker. We saw what happened in that match when he was trying to work the young guy style, right? Sting was out there. He looked great in the first half of that match. He's doing dives. He's doing buckle bombs. He's running out there with Seth Rollins. He looked in great shape, maybe the best physical shape that we had seen him since WCW. And when he took that second buckle bomb and his knees buckled thereafter, and he got a shooting pain in his hands, couldn't get his mobility about him for a little bit. That was frightening to see. It was frightening to see something like that happen, and that was 5 years ago. Almost 6, 5.5 maybe, right? That's a long time ago to not be in a ring. 61, your body doesn't move like it does at 51, and it definitely doesn't move like it was when you're 41. So I just say this, and I love that he's in AEW. I love that he's on television. I was so excited to see him. I just don't have an interest in seeing him work a match. I don't. And to me, he went away. He could say my last match was in the main event of a pay-per-view sold-out building for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And I put the young guy over. I think that's a great way to go out. That's just me.
Well, my thing is this, man. How you gonna tell a man he can't go out there and do it no more? How you gonna tell a man, he ain't got the juice? He can't go out there and feed his family. You know what I mean? My thing is this.
I'm not saying that he can't. I'm just saying it makes me uncomfortable.
My thing is this. Just like it's a lot of people. It may have been a lot of people of your era saying, "Man, I don't want to see no Mike Tyson and Roy Jones," But it was a million old heads saying, "Man, I want to see it." So
I think that's different. I think it's different.
Well, you might think it's different, but it's
different because we didn't see Mike get a really scary injury in his last fight. He just sat on the stool and said, "I'm done."
It could have just been a stinger. You know what I mean? No pun intended. Something like that. We don't know how bad the injury really was. It could have been something that just was, momentarily. Maybe WWE just didn't want to take a chance on someone that was of that age.
Maybe they're looking out for his best interest.
Perhaps. But sometimes some people say, "Man, look, I want to roll the dice. I want to do it, my way." Haven't you ever heard that song?
I've heard it many a times.
I did it my way.
Oh, you weren't referring to the Limp Bizkit song? No, I'm kidding.
Sure. That's what I would say. Hey guys, stick around. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back, guys. Oh man, we're getting close, man.
I know we're getting close, and I see the chat is turning against me, as I thought that they would. I thought that they would turn against me in this last one. But can I just say this? Can I say that we're talking about Sting, and I really did. I loved that he was coming back and that he's in AEW. And people are talking about, well, what about Terry Funk wrestling into his later age? What about Ric Flair? I understand all that. I'm not saying that it's not possible to be up in age and still be able to wrestle.
Yeah.
I'm talking about coming off of an injury like we saw. We're coming off of what we saw happen in Sting's last match, plus a 5-year layoff.
Hey, man.
That's what concerns me. Now, I can see him doing a match. You remember when Randy Savage went to TNA for that one match?
Yeah.
He wrestled, I think, a 6-man tag, I believe. That I can see. 6-man tag, sure. Go out there, put somebody in the Scorpion Deathlock, let them tap. You have your moment of glory. But if y'all are expecting Sting to wrestle a full-time schedule and to be taking bumps and stuff, that's not about to happen.
See, it's people like you, man. You being negative. It's people like you being negative. Let
me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
You know what? I haven't heard anybody talk like that but you, Brad. You're the only one that I've heard talk about anything like that. Everybody else is being positive about this thing. Everybody in the chat, they're being positive. But you're the only one that's being negative about, seeing a guy like Sting go out there and, live out his wrestling dreams, man. Something that it's his dream, man. Why can't we just let him go out there instead of wanting to hate on Sting's dream, man, and being negative about it? Why?
I'm not being negative about it. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Sting. I'm a major fan of Sting. I've always been a fan of Sting. I'm just concerned. That's all. I'm just concerned. Just like if you called me tomorrow morning and you said, guess what? I just signed a multi-year full contract extension with the WWE to come back as an active performer. I say, Booker, you've lost your damn mind. Like, I appreciate
that's what I say. I appreciate it, dog. I appreciate it. But I'm going out here. I'm going to make this money, man. I got some stuff I need to do. I got some stuff some unfinished business that, I need to finish it no matter what. And what can you say to that?
You can do whatever you want. But I would say I'm concerned. That's what I would say. I'm concerned.
You can say that about Sting, man, but I'm just saying, man, I think Sting deserves to go out and finish this thing, man, however he wants to finish it. That's just, that's the old John Wayne way. Go out there and,
as long as he's safe.
Meet up at high noon at the OK Corral, man. I mean, why do you got to be safe? Why you can't jump off something?
Come on, Book.
Maybe he wants to jump off something.
Why are you acting brand new? Why are you acting like this? Come on, man.
Yeah.
You got me like Joe Biden. Come on, man.
Look, man, you get around these young guys, you can tend to want to start doing, look at Goldust doing, Canadian destroyers, stuff off the top rope. It makes you feel young when you're around those young guys. You want to jump off something. Look at Dallas Page. Didn't he do a dive off the top rope when
I think he did?
So that's what I'm saying, man. When you got the juice, when you start getting the juices flowing again, did you see us in that photo in the bar down in Florida? We all felt like we could jump off something that night. You know what I mean? No matter how old you are. You know what I mean?
You might have been under the influence of some liquid courage and shots of Jack.
Hey, man,
guys,
we got some super chats, man. Get to those super chats, man.
Let's get to them right now.
So, because we're getting ready to run out, we're going to make sure we take care of those guys.
Hey, Booker, would you be willing to dress up like Sting again if AEW needed a backup Sting? No. I doubt anyone would tell the difference.
I had a great time doing that back in the day, man. I had a chance to do it. How many people got a chance to do as much as I did in this business? How many?
Oh, that was funny.
I got a chance to be a part of so much, man. There's so many different things, man. That was just one of them. That's just one of them. Seriously, I was a lumberjack when I was with Goldust one time, and I was like the only one dressed up like a lumberjack, a real lumberjack.
Incredible. Loved it. Fake beard and everything. Wally Wall says, why does Sting love every wrestling 2 promotion but WWE? We have all seen his AEW debut last night. I don't think that Sting doesn't love WWE. I think that he was probably appreciative of the opportunity.
No, I just think he didn't.
It was a raw deal.
Perhaps he didn't get the run he didn't,
right.
in WWE, but I think, he made some good money. I bet you that.
I think he should have won that Mania match.
I mean,
I really do.
Perhaps, maybe he should have. But I thought his run was, there again, not as good as it could have been because of only reason I think it didn't have the right pop was because he came well too late in his career. That's the only thing. I think the time that he spent in TNA was years that he was supposed to be in WWE. Really doing it big, and then he could have went to TNA and made more money. That's another story. Keep it going, man.
He just never felt though like a WWE guy. I will say that he never had the feel.
He didn't put enough time in. They put enough time.
That's true. Aaron C, can you see Sting doing a full schedule for AEW? This is what we're talking about. So you say let the man come back and wrestle, and that's fine if that's what he wants to do. Okay, that's fine. Does he wrestle a full-time schedule? No way, right?
Let me answer this: what's a full-time schedule in AEW?
Once a week.
We don't know if there's a full-time schedule for Sting.
That's the only schedule they got. They got a show once a week.
For Sting, it's just like right now. You got a guy like Darby Allin, who's the TNT champion. He didn't work last night, did he? So one thing.
He was involved.
What I'm saying is he's a guy. I mean, this is the thing. They got one show. They're not gonna be able to rotate talent the way WWE does it. They're gonna have to be able to rotate talent totally different because their roster, aren't able to be able to put everyone on the show every week. And if you go back to a throwback perspective, it's something that you don't want to do. Put your main talent on television on a weekly basis. Give that drawing power when you start advertising. That's just my opinion. So I think a full-time schedule there could look totally different than a full-time schedule anywhere else. And we don't know what it's going to look like when things crank back up. We just don't.
But could you see him working every single week?
Man,
for a multi-year deal?
I think so. I don't know. Like I say, I think he could go to work. We don't know what work is. Work could be, player coach. Work could be working from behind the scenes and doing that work. And when I need to implement myself, I'll implement myself. You need me to hang up in the rafters tonight, I'll do that. That kind of stuff. So it's a whole lot goes on with having a full-time schedule other than wrestling full-time. And so I look at it as a full-time job opposed to a full-time wrestling schedule, because we all know Sting is 61 years old. He's not a guy that we should even be thinking about putting in a wrestling ring on a weekly basis. So
I agree.
I just don't think anyone would or anyone should ever think about looking at it that way. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree. And I actually was talking to our illustrious executive producer, Kevin Bernhardt, about this last night and today. If Sting wants to come out and be a part of a 6-man tag, right? Something like that, team up with Cody and Darby, because Cody and Darby were a team last night when he made his debut. Team up with them, face Taz and his boys. Like, I'm fine with that. I just don't want to see any craziness from Sting. That's just me personally. It's just, and I don't think that we will. If he wants to come out, boom, death drop somebody, death lock them, Stinger splash. Those three moves, no bumps. We can do it.
I want to see him jump off something. I don't care what it is.
We could do it, but we can make that happen. That I think that we can make happen. But
that's what you do there, man. That's what you do in AEW, man. You jump off something. I'm serious, man. You look at Matt Hardy. You know what I mean? Matt Hardy get there. He want to go back. He want to go back to his old days, man, and start jumping off stuff. You get that fever when you go there, man. Everybody that we know over 40 years old that have gone to AEW have jumped off something.
I hope, can someone please put a stat together of how many guys are north of 40 and jumped off something in AEW? I'd actually really like to know that. Now, this is a match, and I love both these guys, but I'm not interested in Sting versus Taz. That is not something I'm interested in either. But I want to see Sting. I like seeing Sting back. I will say the merch looks awesome. He looks good. The hair looks good. The face paint looked great. It was cool to see him back.
The hair looks good. What are you talking about?
Well, it looks like he dyed it.
Oh, okay.
Looks like he dyed it. I'm not saying the hairline's phenomenal, but I'm saying that the hair looks good.
Yeah,
The attire looked good. He looked like he was still in Sting's shape.
Yeah, big title change on television too.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to get to that now? Do we have time?
Yeah. It's not our last segment. We got one more. I thought this was our last one.
This is our last one.
No, yeah, we got time. We got a couple of minutes. We got time. We got a little bit of time.
Okay, so what did you think? What did you think of the ending? What did you think? So the ending was it was Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley, AEW World Championship on the line. We have a new AEW World Champion with Kenny Omega. What do you think?
Hey, man, like I said, we only got about a minute left before we got to get out of here. But we're going to talk about this, guys, tomorrow more in depth. But I got a way of, teaching wrestling in my school, and the formula is it's a very, very simple formula. Once you figure out the blueprint, you can take it wherever you want to take it. Every match is the same, but every match is different. I hear people talk about Ric Flair having the same match throughout his whole career, but to be able to have the same match with so many different styles, so many different flavors, that's a task just right there alone. So to watch what we saw with Omega and Moxley, it was nothing, no more than what wrestling has always been. Two guys going out there and simulating a fight, and trying to make that fight come to life, and then entertain me at the same time. At the end of the night, we leave the theater, like I said, if it was a good karate movie, chopping each other. If it was a good movie, if it wasn't, we've been like, oh man, it wasn't that good. And I think when people left this movie, they were chopping each other, man, because it definitely gave that feel of old school wrestling, what wrestling was back in the day. Guys, I want to thank you guys for sticking around, being in the Hall of Fame with me tonight. Of course, there again, we're going to weigh in a little bit more in depth tomorrow night inside the Hall of Fame. Make sure you guys tune in for that boxing match. Going down Spence versus Garcia this weekend, guys. You don't want to miss out. Don't want to get shut out on that. But again, Bradley, I appreciate you as always. Everybody in the chat, I appreciate you guys as always. But right now, shoot.